The Light of Motiram is a new upcoming game. This game has taken a lot of inspiration from several great games. It has all the sugar, spice, and everything nice in it. The trailer looked amazing, but I do have some concerns and some news related to the closed beta test of the game that recently happened. We'll be talking about it throughout the video, so please don't skip ahead, or you may miss something important. Hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get the latest news on the Light of Motiram. I'll also appreciate the support. Welcome, folks. I'm Bit, and this is EveryBit-Game. I recently saw the beta gameplay, so let me get the obvious thing out first. This game looks very much like Horizon. 80% works like Palworld, and the remaining 10% is inspired by a lot of other games like Destiny, Elden Ring, and more. Now, before you correct my math, the remaining 10%? Actually, I would like to leave that for the benefit of the doubt. Is the story going to be similar to Horizon, or is it going to have a completely different one? We have seen in the past what happens when a company poorly adapts a game and its story. With the example of Terrasland, which was developed by Tencent, and since Light of Motiram has also taken so much inspiration from so many games, will it have anything original that sets it apart from the others? To be honest, it doesn't matter as long as it delivers the right experience. But what concerns me is the fact that this game is being developed and published by Polaris Quest, which is a subsidiary of Tencent. Yeah, now you know why I'm worried. Tencent. And if you haven't guessed it already, let me give it to you straight. Yes, it is a mobile game and will be cross-platform. It will be available on Android, iOS, and Windows. They recently conducted a closed beta test on Christmas, but it was only for China, as users were required to log in via QQ or WeChat accounts, which means you'll need a Chinese number for pre-registration. However, the devs have shared some results on their website, which contain feedback from the majority of testers and their responses to it. There are 6 parts to it. We'll look at them one by one, but before I start, let me tell you that it was originally written in Chinese, and I know no Chinese, so the translation may not be 100% accurate, as I used an online service to translate the text. Part 1 is about major problem, I guess, and some UI-related issues, so the feedback reads out. The layout is chaotic, too small, with too many buttons, and not aesthetically pleasing. Here we go, guys! We already have some concerns related to the UI, to which the devs responded saying, all members of the UI team have received it, in order to provide pioneers with an excellent audio-visual and operational experience. We are constantly iterating on both the functional layout and the audio-visual effects. What everyone is experiencing now is just an early functional verification version, and in the future, we will present more refined effects to everyone. At the same time, we understand that many pioneers want to customize the UI layout. This feature has been put on the agenda and is being developed with full effort. We are committed to the simultaneous advancement across multiple platforms, so that all pioneers can experience a comprehensive sensory upgrade when we meet next time. Guys, I've seen the gameplay, and the UI looks horrible. It's too early to judge, but it was the most generic mobile UI I've ever seen. And it's very similar to what you can find in any Genshin clone game. It's not very convincing based on what they said, but okay, we'll see. At least they have recorded it as a major problem. If the translation is correct, I guess we'll get some customization options for the HUD as well. Part 2 focuses on performance and optimization. Feedback is, there is overheating when playing on mobile, and the PC version seems to have too high system requirements. Devs responded, we apologize for the bad experience caused to all the pioneers. We are still continuously refining the performance on both mobile and PC, striving to ensure that devices with different configurations and specifications can achieve better visual performance. We will also continue to optimize the game's performance, including stability, and in the future, we will adapt it to more devices to provide everyone with a smoother gaming experience. So evidently, some optimization will be required, but I can understand that since it was just the first beta test, the good thing is that they are taking note of these issues, and hopefully, They will fix them before the next test. Part 3 is about combat, and the feedback is, the movements are stiff and not smooth. The combat recoil is too long. You can't rotate the camera after targeting an enemy, and the controls feel a bit laggy. Dev's response is promising though, they said. Regarding the feedback on controls, camera locking, and other issues, we held a meeting overnight to discuss and research them. In the future, we will continue to optimize the controls, weapon modules, combat balance, camera adjustment methods, and more. For example, we will add the option to adjust the camera mode in the settings for free selection. To meet the needs of different pioneers, we kindly ask pioneers to give us more patience. From the sounds of it, it currently isn't great. Combat needs to improve, guys. Otherwise, nobody is going to play this game, since it will be a major part of the experience. Part 4. Survival and construction related. Players' feedback. Why are the backpack and storage box not connected? Also, the weight limit is too low, making it a bit tiring to play. Dev's response. In terms of survival and construction, we aim to provide pioneers with a more realistic and immersive experience. However, many pioneers have suggested that the backpack and storage box should be connected. We value feedback, and future versions will definitely support this feature. Please rest assured, pioneers. Regarding the weight limit, currently, players can gain additional backpack weight and grid space rewards through talent progression in the game. The development team will also optimize the backpack weight and item stacking limits in future updates to ease the burden for pioneers and enhance the convenience of controls. Okay, sounds good. Next feedback is, the construction controls are relatively tedious, and there are fewer types of structures. Dev's response, in the game we focus on a realistic interaction experience. Therefore, we have added a physical weight system, and pioneers can freely build and modify the terrain almost anywhere. The high freedom and rich playability of the construction mechanics have always been our goal. In the future, we will add a grid mode, optimize the snapping functionality, and replace and upgrade structure components to make it easier for pioneers to operate. Additionally, we will update more building materials, textures, and patterns, aiming to provide pioneers with more choices and greater creative freedom. We look forward to seeing the construction works of pioneers in Wild Origins. Wild Origins, or Origin of the Wilderness, is the internal codename for Light of Motiram. Moving on to the next feedback. The survival and exploration gameplay is relatively simple. Are there any plans for the future? Response. In terms of survival gameplay, we have noticed the issue of limited methods for solving problems. In the future, we will add more survival experiences and solutions, giving pioneers more interesting experiences and choices. For example, environment-related interactive gameplay, such as climate, weather, and periodic environmental changes, are all being considered. These elements will also be reflected in the design and creation of future maps. So there is some concern about the game loop as well. I mean, guys, if we're looking at a game that's basically like Pokemon or Palworld, then you need to provide a good challenge and offer a lot of variety in terms of construction. Weapons, regions, Pokemon, enemies, bosses, etc. Basically, a lot of quality content is needed to keep players engaged. Otherwise, it will become boring very quickly. Part 5 is about newbie guides or tutorials. Feedback. Newbies find it a bit difficult to gather materials. The guidance is unclear, and it's somewhat confusing to get started in the early stages. Devs. In the early stages of the game, there are indeed some issues with the quantity and distribution of materials for newbies. We will continue to improve this to make the transition through the beginner phase smoother and more seamless for pioneers. We are also continuously refining the beginner guide and game difficulty control. In the future, in addition to adding new forms and content to the guide, we plan to offer pioneers different modes of guidance, such as a detailed version and a simplified version to meet the varying needs of different pioneers. They admitted it. And I also like the idea of having 2 versions of the tutorial and not treating everyone the same, because some players may have prior experience. Going through all those things over and over again, every time you start a new game, is not fun. But how they implement it will matter a lot. We'll see. Then the last part talks about quality of life related and multiplayer related issues to which they responded. The mechas and other creatures on the Daliman plains follow a unified cycle rule. After being defeated, they will respawn after 12 hours. However, when sleeping overnight, there is a chance of having a nightmare which triggers an additional restart, causing the mechas and other creatures to respawn again. Okay, interesting. So there is also a nightmare system. If pioneers are in multiplayer mode, materials will also drop multiple times within a certain range. To address the issue of difficulty in obtaining materials, we will continue to collect feedback from everyone and make adjustments. Here we have it, guys. There will be some co-op gameplay as well. The rest focuses on multiplayer settlements and mecha management. It essentially explains how they will balance the base and access for other co-op players, as well as provide more details on the jobs each mecha can perform, such as which Pokemon can cook, which one can mine stones, and so on. If the devs take action as they mentioned, then who knows? It could turn out to be one of the best games out there. I'll keep my fingers crossed for this one, because I really love the graphics in the trailer. Hopefully, when it releases, it will have something comparably good, because the graphics I saw in the beta gameplay video were really bad and nowhere close to the graphics shown in the trailer. And I know it's still in early development, so I'm not complaining. Just sharing my concern here, because I'm looking forward to playing this game. What do you think of this? Are you also looking forward to its release? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this one. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the content. It helps keep me motivated. And don't forget to subscribe so we can enjoy our games together and every bit of it. See you in the next one.